Hey kiddos, welcome to this week's homework where we're starting to look at angles, specifically supplementary, complementary, vertical, and adjacent. In class, we talked about how they work together and what type of numbers they add up to. So if we have our angles here and we're looking for the name of them, this first set would be called vertical. They are vertical angles. These are supplementary. Remember that supplementary add up to 180, or can think of it as a straight line. Down here, these would be considered adjacent. These would also be considered adjacent. These are complementary. Complementary have to add up to 90 degrees. That is the main difference between complementary and adjacent. And then these would be considered vertical. So we have vertical, supplementary, adjacent, adjacent, complementary, and vertical. Any questions? Bring them with you to class. All right, using the model to the right to pick an angle that best fits the description. We have a lot of options here. So there is going to be a variety of answers. We're going to talk about a couple of them. So angles that do not add up to 180 or 90 degrees. So if we're looking here, we could say that angles 1 and 6 would not. They're going to be a little bit greater. Just to give you an example of them. Complementary angles, again, we have a bunch of them. Complementary just mean that they're going to add up to 90. So if we're looking here, we could say that 4 and 5 would be considered complementary. We can also say that 1 and 2 would be complementary. Our third one is supplementary. Supplementary is looking at that 180 degrees. So for that one, we could say that any of these top ones, so 1, 2, 3, or 6, 5, 4 would be supplementary. Vertical angles, tons of them, so many options here. We could say 2 and 5, 6 and 3, 1 and 4. The bottom one, 90-degree angle, though, the only one that is going to fit is angle 3 because we have our 90-degree box. And then the last one is just your favorite type that has lots of options. If you're unsure of how you did on this and you would like feedback because they're not definitive answers, please go ahead and bring your questions to class or send them to me as a message. All right, finding the missing value of our angles. So if the total angles equal 57, I know that this portion is 10 and I want to know what x is. I would have to do 57 degrees, take away 10 degrees. That tells me that x is going to be equal to 47 degrees. Over here, I have my right angle mark there telling me it's 90. If I take away the 64 that's already accounted for, x is going to be equal to 26 degrees. Down here, I'm using what I know about angles and how they work together. So x and 77 are going to be equivalent. Y and 103 are going to be equivalent. I know that this is a straight line, which is 180 degrees. 165 of it is already shown, meaning that x is going to be equal to 15 degrees. Coming down here, I see my 90 degrees. I know that 17 degrees is taken up, leaving 73 degrees for x. I have a straight line, which is 180 degrees. I take away the 74 that's accounted for. X is 106 degrees. Questions on these? Go ahead and bring them with you to class. An angle measures 104 degrees. What angle value would be supplementary? To be supplementary, we're looking at, I'm sorry, 10.4 degrees. We're looking at 180 degrees. So if we have 10.4 degrees over here, that means we have 169.6 degrees would make it supplementary. Two lines intersect, creating vertical angles, looking like this. One is 42 degrees and one is 138 degrees. What are the other two angles? Well, if we have vertical angles, they are going to be the same across their vertices. Three adjacent angles. So let's go ahead like that. And we'll throw one there and one there. So one of our angles is going to be 25 degrees, one is going to be 49 degrees, and one is going to be 68 degrees. What is the total? To find the total, you're going to have to add 68, 49, and 25, and you will get 142 degrees in total. Two adjacent angles adding up to 247 degrees. One of the angles is 89 degrees. What is the value of the second? So we're talking about an angle that goes backwards, right? Because straight across is going to be 180 degrees and we need 247. So we're going to put this guy here. We're going to say that this is 89 degrees. What would be missing? 247 minus the 89 leaves this angle at 158 degrees. Coming down here, two more on this page. An angle measuring 22.1 degrees. What angle value would be supplementary? What angle value would be complementary? So to be supplementary, we need to have a whole line. To be complementary, we're looking at 90 degrees. So we're going to say that this is 22.1 degrees. To get to our 90, we would need 67.9 degrees. To get to 180, would have to be a total of 157.9 degrees. Last one, an angle measures 81.2 degrees. What angle value would be complementary? So we want that 90-degree angle. 81.2 degrees would leave room for an additional 8.8 degrees. Any questions on this page? Bring them with you to class. All right, for here, we are solving for x, trying to figure out the value, solve for x. So I know that altogether this has to equal 180 degrees. So if I'm solving for x, I have 5x plus 1 plus 49 has to be 180 degrees. When I do that, I'm going to follow my same rules that I would before. I'm going to start by subtracting my 49. I have 5x plus 1, dropping my parentheses is 131. I'm then going to take away my 1 from both sides, which gives me 5x is equal to 130. And then when I divide 130 by 5, I am left with x is equal to 26. So this would be 26. If I substitute and solved, I will see that I get my 180 degrees. All right, over here, I have 2x has to be equal to 56 because I know that they're going to share a value. Divide both by 2. 56 divided by 2 is going to leave me with 28. X is equal to 28. All right, my whole angle is going to equal 136 degrees. So I have a lot going on here, and I'm trying to solve for x. So I know that x plus 25 plus 2x is going to equal 136 degrees. I'm going to combine my like terms. I have 3x plus 25 equals 136. Subtract 25 from both sides. When I do that, 136 minus 25 leaves me with 3x is equal to 111. When I divide by 3, I get x is equal to 37. X is equal to 37. Over here, I have a 90-degree angle, so 2x plus 1 plus 67 is going to equal 90. Subtract 67 from both sides. When I do that, 90 take away 67 leaves me with 23 on this side is equal to 2x plus 1 minus 1 from both sides. 2x is equal to 22. X is equal to 11. 4x plus 108 equals 180 degrees. We have a full straight line. So when I do 180 and I subtract 108, I'm left with 4x equals 72. Divide both sides by 4. 72 divided by 4 gives me x is equal to 18. Last one. These are a straight line, so it means 148 plus x minus 5 is got to be equal to 180 degrees. Start by subtracting 148 from both sides. X minus 5 equals 180 minus 148 is 32. 32 minus 5 is 27. X, or I'm sorry, I need to add the 5. Plus 5 plus 5, X is equal to 37. Questions? Bring them with you to class. Have a good weekend, mathletes.